essay, and she had been thinking about patience when her teachers had called Dad and Sonia into the school to discuss the recent decline in her already unimpressive academic performance. Every day, every moment, she was thinking about Patience in their mother's orchard in Vermont. Her long brown hair and soft hazel eyes. How she had loved racing playfully through the apple trees, while Sorrow tagged along, always smaller, always slower. In her thoughts, the seasons turned around them in a film reel flicker of color. Winter brown to pale spring green, summer's deep mossy shadows to autumn's blaze of red and gold. And no matter how hard Sorrow tried, no matter how desperately she reached, Patience was always just beyond her grasp. She had been thinking about who Patience would have been if she had lived. There were blank spaces in Sorrow's memory surrounding the day Patience died, where before she had always let her thoughts skitter away from those days, like roaches fleeing a sudden light. Now she turned into them, examined them, unflinching, and all she found was a thicket of shadows obscuring her view, a tangled wall of branches between her and the past. Nothing she did helped her push through. All she had were questions, and the long-ago echo of nightmares tinged with fire. "Why can't I remember what happened?" she asked. Dr. Silva, her voice as calm and deep as the cloudless sky, said, "Memory is imperfect, Sorrow, even in the best of circumstances. Your sister's death was a terrible trauma, and the effects of such a trauma, especially at such a young age, they last a long time. You might never remember everything." "It's been 8 years," Sorrow said, and there it was again, the whisper of wind through remembered trees all around her, the imagined shadows reaching up the walls and bending onto the ceiling. "I don't have nightmares anymore." "Why is it so important to you?" Dr. Silva asked. "What do you think will change if you remember?" It wasn't enough to sketch in those terrible days with what others had told her. Dad hadn't even been there when Patience died. He had visited only a few times a year throughout her childhood. She could never talk about it with her mother. Their phone conversations were carefully light, deliberately casual, and they never, ever mentioned Patience. A girl who couldn't remember. A man who had been hundreds of miles away. A woman who would not even say her daughter's name. A few lines of empty fact. Unexplained fire. Unexpected tragedy. It wasn't enough. Dr. Silva was speaking, but her words were a murmur at the edge of Sorrow's awareness. Sorrow was staring out the window again, at beaches and bridges and quays. And what she was seeing was the orchard, not as it would be now, in the first blush of spring, with apple blossoms opening pink and white, but as it had been before Patience died. It had been winter gray and barren, the naked branches of the trees silver in the moonlight. The nights so bitterly cold, she felt it still as an ache in her chest. The Lovegoods of Abrams Valley, the family of her mother and grandmother, and the long, unbroken braid of women before them. They had always lived and died by stories they told. Their remembrances held dear, long after most families would have let old names and old deeds disappear into history. "I want to go back," Sorrow said. "I need to go back to the orchard." Patience deserved that. She deserved